Hey there, folks. It's Jason back with you one more time. I've been swearing I was going to do this for the longest time, and I guess it's actually time to do it. I rolled back my game back to 1.3, and I've come taking a drop in on my old server. Not so much my server. I don't host it or run it or anything, but the one that I was playing on our game server that Kyle and Justin and I and a couple of others were playing on for a pretty fair amount of time, pre 1.2 to 1.3, I guess, through a few updates. But right now we're on the very top of my house. My house is not much here. This was a starting ground for me. This is where I learned all about the game, or at least started to. I'm still learning shit every day because they keep changing stuff on me. But I wanted a sky-high house, or not even a sky-high house. I just wanted a elevated home. This is my garbage disposal here. It's part of my design for the entire home. Just a small little box here. That's a dog. Dog is the only dog I ever tamed on this server who did not walk himself into lava or fire or do something else incredibly stupid. And, well, dog, what are you doing? And he's going to go do it now. Here, you sit right there. That's a perfect place for you. You look out the window and wait for me to come home or something. All right, let's go take a look. Came into the game, said I just want to have my own little spot somewhere out and away from everybody so I can play around with this and figure out what's what and not get in the way of anybody else's building. And this is where I lived. I'm out right on the edge of a ice desert and an ice biome. That is my home. I put myself in creative mode for this, so I like my little lava falls. The first things I did was build that and put lava all around it. Little obsidian around the bottom. I liked that. That was fun. And then, just for entertainment purposes, I made myself a little disappearing lava bridge. That's also fun with mobs when they spawn in within the borders. I just get them to follow me, let them walk across the bridge, and then dump them into the lava. A lot of my storage was out here for my day-to-day stuff, and these ones were while I was trying to reorganize before we restarted the server. My first real redstone creation right here. I'm playing around with doorways and hidden doorways and all that kind of stuff. And that is all underneath this. A single switch that blocks both of those. It's got my potion room in it. Very, very small. I was not really thinking much about making sure I had space before I started digging and building and putting stuff in. So I built myself in a little bit here. As far as my redstone stuff goes, I didn't leave a lot of room. But this is that whole redstone setup. RS-NOR switches and you name it. A little bit lower is my normal actual storage room. This is where all my goodies are. Everything kind of labeled. Some slime balls, gunpowder, blah blah blah. And my smelting room. And if we take ourselves a walk down this way, oh yeah, can't fly at a downward angle. Go figure, right? Well, I'll be right back with you once I get there. Alright, this is my original farm area. We were using warps and everything on this server, so you can actually warp to the Jaz-O farm. Because it started off initially as just my obsidian farm. I pick up my lava from here. I was making a nice little dent in it. And stack my lava up, and there water flow over everything. Harvest it down, stack another stack up, harvest it down, whatever. My initial melon and sugarcane farm. Little water flow farm. This is before smooth touching ice was available. And my obsidian farm as it became. This was all pools of lava initially, and I took all the lava out, turned it into obsidian. Like I said before, I got a thing for obsidian. I just like it. And I had plans for a massive amount of it, so I just kept picking up more and more and more. This is a nice little setup to use that redstone lava water combo to create obsidian. So you can create unlimited obsidian based off how much redstone you have and not have to deal with multiple buckets of lava constantly. And it was incredibly handy. This all kind of started off just as a mine, just as my mine, my first strip mine, until I found the big open area and decided to make use of it. Strip mine down that way, back over this way, and then that takes us back upstairs. That being said, it's a long walk, so be right back with you. And since this was a kind of a place in between worlds, ice deserts are always an entertaining concept. I wanted something to represent that in my courtyard here. I did initially have plans of expanding out my area pretty much out to the ocean and everything. Never got around to it. Got distracted by a lot of other things. So this was my courtyard. I like my little yin-yang symbol. A nice representation of balance. Water and lava, and oh, I had a drowning spider. Got the burning netherrack with some lava in the middle there. Got the reeds, some water in the middle there. This was primarily for my wife. She absolutely loves that whole yin-yang symbol. So I was bored and looking for something to do one night, and I said, hey, I could build one of those. Got a little bit of help on my curves from Kyle. He had played around more with circles, but for the most part, it's all my design and idea. And I really like how it came out. That's nice. Over there is my nether portal for the base. That was here before I ever got here. And this was my 3x3 entry door until one evening I opened it up and there was a creeper standing on the outside of it. And I couldn't get away fast enough. And he blew up a lot of crap. So I tore it all out with plans to build another one. Never got around to doing it. And this was my playground. This is... I never did put up a sign for it, but this is where I just messed around with ideas. I started playing with bud switches one night. Stupid mob. And came up with a couple of not bad ideas. This one's just a perpetual bud switch. Continuously updates itself. There are easier ways to do this that will allow an on-off switch. I have learned since then. That's the only problem with this one, is I can't really stop it without breaking some redstone. Yeah, well, so be it, right? This was initially going to be a fountain. That's the problem with ice biomes. Snow. It snows too much. Come on, go away. There you are. this was initially here going to be a fountain idea. I had water coming down off of on a timer that was ice wrapped, and it was spiraled down, kind of a double helix setup, wrapped in ice all the way down. It was what really let me know that I did not like the way that glass worked. Not wrapped in ice, wrapped in glass. I think I said ice, didn't I? Wrapped in glass on the way down, but that's what let me understand that I really didn't like the glass in the default Minecraft. It is not enjoyable to look through in any way, shape, or form. So I started screwing with what I put together, and I think, yeah, there we go. So it just became a perpetual bud switch, kind of a T flip-flop concept at the end. But I also realized with the timing I had, I could drop just these single little wafers of water down and have them single tick trigger my bud switch, which lets me do this. Not a lot of point to it, just something I was screwing around with. And if you don't time that just right, your sand gets all glitchy and it dumps water everywhere, hence the little bath around the bottom. And then over to this. Initially this was that idea that everybody uses for doing counters and timers and... Pardon me just a moment, guys. Sorry, I had to cough there. For doing those count-up timers and clocks and things like that. I just thought that there would be other uses for it. So it's kind of a programmable memory system, technically. You can set it up so that it will trigger different redstone events as it goes along in a certain order, and depending on the size you can trigger a whole number of different things or a whole number of different sequences. So we'll turn that on. Loud as hell, so let's go ahead. You don't want that all the way off, but it was basically one of those. If it hits a solid block, it passes the redstone current through. If it doesn't hit a solid block, it doesn't. And as it goes, I initially had it running redstone lamps, these pistons with the gravel on top, and also some music note blocks. But I got rid of the note blocks because they were just incredibly annoying sounding. So, just a little idea I was playing around with. Tried to make use of it a couple of times, but never had the best of luck. And just a little entry fountain here, and that was the beginning of my world. This is another place I initially tried using that last idea to create a ground effect. Did not work out. So I had a big hole in the ground. I decided to decorate it up slightly. And I put in this rotating wall. And on-off switches back here, which is a bit of a hassle. And what it does is this. Basically the sand and the gravel start at the bottom. Drops down below the base floor. Pistons kick the base level blocks back into another vertical piston, which then alternately pushes them up, and then the upper pistons push them forward, and gravity pulls them down. Not a bad idea. If pistons weren't so loud, I'd actually use it somewhere, but unfortunately pistons have a horrible, horrible noise to them. I love the pistons. I cannot stand the sound effect, especially not for long periods of time. So, just another little something that I played with while I was here. Here, just climb down the ladder. And that, yeah, this big open area was for a larger version of one of those little programmable ROM concepts. So, huge, huge, huge space with not much put into it. So that's like my section of the old world at the moment. Oh, yeah, and two other things, actually. This is my ice farm. Right after they came with silk touching ice, I decided I wanted to build an ice machine. Initially, this was all covered up and a large ice house, and the ice would just kick out through slots in the side. But I decided to try and make it bigger, and never got around to skinning the outside of it. Essentially, what we've got, and right now it's maxed out, so it won't kick anything else along. This piece freezes, which updates the water here, hits a bud switch. Bud switch triggers the redstone, which kicks that block of ice upwards. A little bit of a delay. This one kicks it forwards. As it's going along, it hits another bud switch to register that it's been moving, so it kicks through, and then this all pushes it out. So these will all be blocks of usable, silkable ice. I did that before going to YouTube at all, and because I wanted to see if I could make one that worked before I bothered looking at anybody else's designs. And I did see a couple other people who kind of came up with the exact same idea I did. It seems to be one of the better concepts, at least. Mine's a little on the inelegant side. The cart track doesn't matter at all. That was just me getting bored waiting for ice to freeze, and I wanted to ride around in a circle for a while. What are you going to do? I think I might have been drinking that night. And then, two last things. This is not my design. This was Kyle. I was playing around with raising pistons up 3 levels high. I'd gotten through 2, figured out 3, just kind of learning redstone, learning pistons, learning how everything worked together. And I had read a bunch of stuff on the forums saying that you could not take piston levels up 5 high. You just can't be done, blah, 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 blah. And I love hearing that stuff can't be done. So while I was screwing around with this, my friend Kyle, he actually runs a server, came on by and hadn't ever played around with the pistons and redstone and whatnot in that fashion. So I said, hey, this is what I'm doing. And that night when I had to go to bed, he stuck around and kept screwing with it, thinking of possible elevator ideas or something, and came up with a 5-piston system. Lifting is the easy part. Bringing it all back down was the hard part. So he put together sort of a redstone algorithm, I suppose, and it worked all the way up to when we abandoned this server. It's never been a problem, and I was never going to build over it because I just like it. It's kind of awesome. I've gone through this 2 or 3 times trying to exactly figure out everything he did, and I don't think I could reproduce it unless I went block by block. I tried, but never could quite get around to it. And this was my wheat farm. It is not planted at the moment. Last time I tried to do one of these old world runarounds, I had this planted and ready to go, and I harvested it, and literally even in creative mode planting this thing takes like half an hour, so sorry guys, you don't get to see it run. But it's not a server crasher or anything, so not really that big a deal. You've seen water harvest wheat farms before. Mine's just kind of big. And yeah, it's a pretty standard, everything down there is just the dirt. It was initially just one level. I decided to stack another one on top. It's completely scalable upwards as high as you want to go. Very simple on redstone too. Just one little T-flip fluff of the water. the lighting glitch underneath with the half slabs under. And you could even turn the underside of it into a mob farm if you wanted to. And this tree. I don't know. I like this tree. But the redstone then runs up just through redstone torches up to the top to trigger the water upstairs. And through little toggles up there to decide so that each level runs at the same time. The design of the bricks is so that all the goodies actually go where they're supposed to go. I could actually add an additional half slab to every section and probably get away from the few little pieces that end up falling on here, but wasn't that big a deal to me. I just run up and down while I was harvesting or while I was replanting and pick that stuff up. And the vines underneath were just for giggles one night while I was bored. One thing to keep in mind, if you do decide to put vines on your underside inside of a farm like this, be cautious about where you put them because they do get in the way of planting. And that's what she did. Dumps everything into the trough, top and bottom. Shut off the water. Go replant. Have yourself a grand old time. It was nice. Nice little piece. And that is everything for my section here. Let me go ahead and cut this for a second. I'm going to warp off somewhere else, show you some other things on the server. Alright, and I'm back. And yeah, actually I'm going to be adding a little extra piece to my YouTube channel, should any of you guys be interested. I think I've mentioned previously, actually I'm sure I have. I used to be a big fan of World of Warcraft. The other night I was bored, flipping around YouTube, kind of got bored with the YouTube videos out there. Went over thinking that one of my favorites was going to be live streaming on Twitch, and seemed that they weren't, at least not that night. Milby live streaming Skyrim was a riot the other night when I watched it. So I started flipping around the other Twitch channels, saw some folks playing the new World of Warcraft release raids, and said, you know what? I loved those games. I hated having to pay for it constantly. It was just too much of a drain on the pocketbook. And kind of got a little bored with the whole thing as it was going. So I said, you know, let's take a look, see what free MMOs are out there. And try to couple, and I actually think I'm going to start doing a little playing on Runes of Magic. It's a very nice little Warcraft clone, really. It's enjoyable to play. It's got some little issues, but it is a free-to-play. So you'll be seeing those videos coming up on my website here. I just got response back from GameForge, who are the folks who run that game. And basically I've got carte blanche to record anything from any GameForge games and post the stuff up on my YouTube channel. So I'll probably be checking out a few of theirs and running things along, running a few extra series that way. My Runes of Magic series, I've already recorded part of it. I was just waiting for the response from them before I posted anything. It is not going to be real interactive. It is not going to be it's not going to be real serious. It's just something to do when I'm kind of bored with Minecraft or when I'm looking for a change of pace. Basically, my first episodes were me getting a pretty good way along a 12-pack of beer and seeing what the game was all about. So you'll be seeing those ones coming up in the next day or two. That being said, back to why I was here originally. This is the Vintage Beef. This was done up by Justin, Frizzy61. I'll put a link up to his channel down in my comments here, or in the info section. This is his roller coaster that he built, and his giant cow, in homage to the Vintage Beef. He called it the Vintage Beef. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I saw the words, "The frizz has hit the ground too hard," over and over and over and over again while he was building this. I think he probably died 115 times. It was a riot. He's got a full ride through on that on his channel. Go check it out. This is our community center done by Kyle. He's a music freak with some numbers at the end of it. He does not record and post videos, so I will not really be linking off to him. But this was his initial area. I guess Frizz does it pretty good. This was from before I was actually on the server at all. God. This loading issue is getting on my nerves. Never used to have this problem on this server at all. That's weird. But this is the community center. This is the King of the Ladder. A very nice little design. Kyle makes some awesome stuff. And we are using CraftBukkit on this server, so you get all the little handy notes and welcomes and all that. The Spleef Arena. Come on, load in the rest of the way, you rotten bastard. There you go. Steve. Should have flown around here and gotten all the stuff loaded in before I started recording again. I didn't even think about it. I was excited about my email, I guess. Oh, Steve does not have a notch taken out of his leg. There you go. Or a hole in his face. Yes, there is a handle to the sword. There we go. And the sword is actually more than just decorative. It is functional. The Pit o' Hell here. Takes a nice little mob farm. The Pit of Doom. And, well, yeah, if you open up this door, you can cycle in every mob coming out of the whole dark area back behind this door. Or, if you flip a couple of switches, you can turn it to just creepers. And then, aside from that, you got a mob arena, a mob grinder, XP, or just an item grinder. And, when you've got it set that way, they all drop down here, and you get all the goodies you could ever need. You can open and close the mob gate, and a switch between everybody or just creepers down in the Pit o' Doom. This was another little PvP arena that Kyle was building. It was based off one of the Doom levels? I cannot remember for the life of me. But that... Oh yeah, and then Sarah Chicken Farm. I think this was initially an Iron Golem farm that never quite functioned the way it was supposed to. So, became a gigantic chicken farm. Massive, massive, massive numbers of eggs and chickens and everything else you could ever possibly need. And the big wheat farm, or the big reed farm. And this was basically the community center entry area into the realm. That was expanding as things went along. I should have downloaded Optifine for 3 or for 1.3. And then the lighthouse, which we turned off because unfortunately it caused a massive amount of lagginess in the general area due to the redstone and the lighting updates and everything. But that's all of that. Oh my god. Terrible, terrible loading. I apologize, guys. And the inside of the community center with the question wall for anybody new, so they can stop asking silly questions. They're not silly questions. Well, no, sometimes they were silly. We did have a few more members than just the three of us playing on this one for a while. Friends and family and stuff like that. But people have gotten either real life things they needed to deal with or had moved on to other games. They got everything you could possibly need for a just starting out person. Food, trees, you name it. And you got the track system, which will run you over to the original base area, which I think Frizz ran you through. If you want to go see that stuff, you can check out his walkthrough of the old world on his channel, as well as a look at his whole base area and the town that he was building. So that is kind of it for here. There's one last thing I want to show you, one last thing that I had built that I want to show off before we bid the old world a fond adieu. So I am going to cut this for just a moment, and I will see you guys in the nether. Alright, this was the last thing that I built up on this server before we decided it was time for a server restart. I was really the only one who was able to use it regularly. I guess it was a massive lag causer for everybody else. This is my Ethos style like zipper design double blaze farm. Found two nice little blaze spawners sitting in a perfect relationship to each other, just like so. Built up a couple of the ice cream cone style farms to bring them all down and get them oriented, and then a nice zipper system to run over to one central point where they drop in. At that point they drop down to this lower zipper, which brought them over to the lava tube here, and then bring them up in here. With it unlocked, this little additional lava flow comes through. You can lock them into place, sort of like my new one. Suffocate them. Tink, 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 tink. And then I realized after the fact that I forgot to add gunpowder to my damage potions. So yeah, they were kind of useless the way they are. So I brought one in. What we got is a master switch. What that does is shuts off all the lava. Starts the zippers running, which are clocked. I tried doing, I made the same mistake that Etho made. I tried doing it based off of, whatchamacallits, little floor pads. Yeah, my brain's not working right now. So that the zippers only triggered when a mob landed on them. Unfortunately, that doesn't work very well, even with glass or just standalone pistons pushing along. It gets jammed up pretty bad. Oh, hello. I'm glad we're in creative mode. Here, let me unlock these. get out of the way. I meant to have that unlocked as we went. Well, essentially, you stand here, it keeps both of them triggered. They all fall down. Everybody comes down through the zippers. They get kicked along into the lava, and then they come up and they visit. You can sit here for quite a long time, but it doesn't take very long to kind of max out what people can deal with. My clock for the zippers is that little jump style clock that Etho had made. I like these. I make regular use out of them. They're very, very handy, and they're nice and adjustable. It's as large as it is purely for visual effect. I do not actually need all those redstone repeaters. As it was pointed out to me previously, I'm kind of wasting resources with it, but I had the resources to wait, so I just like that size for it. Initially these were both going to be skinned up somehow, but never did get around to that either before we changed to the new world. And you hit your master switch. Shuts off the clock and starts the lava back up. Second switch over here is to clear the zippers. This will start your zippers back up so that any of our little friends who are stuck down below get themselves kicked along, and hey, here he comes. And I mean, it worked beautifully. Unfortunately, with all these pistons and redstone repeaters and everything down there, it really killed other people's frame rates. Mine's not bad. Recording, I'm still pulling 40, between 30 and 40, depending on how many mobs I get up here. And you can severely run yourself into the ground with this one. It takes about 15 minutes or so to max out, and if you let it run longer than that, you got to turn the particles off, or even with a gaming rig, you're fried. So, lock them into place. Suffocado. And boom. Yeah, you can 0 to 30 in like no time whatsoever. Collect up all your goodies and you're on your way. But yeah, that's really the last part of my tour of this world. This was the last piece I built, and I probably will not be building one in our new world, because there's no real point in building it if no one can use it. I've done it, so we'll move on and maybe try something else, but I just like this. This was my favorite build that I did on this server. So, thanks for hanging out with me, taking a look at the world as it used to be. And next time you see me, I'll be back on my normal world. And if you are interested in that MMORPG thing, please feel free to check out my other series that I'm going to be putting out on Runes of Magic. It's, like I said, it is not in any way, shape, or form going to be serious. We are not looking for endgame content or anything like that. It's probably going to be a whole bunch of me getting drunk and running around as a dwarf rogue, because that's what I started up. So give it a peek if that's your bag, and if it's not, but you got friends who like that kind of thing, tell them about me, and we'll see if that goes anywhere. Thanks very much for hanging out with me, guys. I will see you around next time. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, or don't. Like I said, trial version me is always available. Check me out and make sure you like me before you hit that subscribe button, but I would really love to have more subscribers. I'd really love to have you as a subscriber. So, we'll see you guys next time.